Okay, so if you're listening right now, you've probably already, picked up your phone today, maybe streamed something, browsed the web a bit. Well, doing just that means you're part of a massive, really critical global industry.
Telecommunications. Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're getting into the weeds of the global telecommunications market. Our goal here is simple. Give you the shortcut, the inside track on the scale, the trends, the future potential of this whole sector.
Hmm.
And just so you know, all the numbers and insights we're talking about, they come from some pretty extensive data crunched by cognitive market research. Okay, let's get started. The sheer size of this market is, well, it's kind of staggering.
It really is. And what the numbers show right off the bat is how fundamental this industry is. It touches almost, well, everything in modern life. Absolutely. It's huge. So picture this. Back in 2021, the global market, already pulling in nearly $1.75 trillion. But here's the kicker. That number, it's projected to basically double. We're looking at something like $3.35 trillion by 2033. That's steady growth, too. A compound annual growth rate, the CAGR, of about, what,
Oh,
5.5%?
yeah, around 5.5%.
Yeah.
And what's fascinating, I think, is how these numbers really highlight the industry's ability to adapt. It's not just getting bigger.
Yeah.
It's constantly changing, evolving with tech, meeting this just insatiable global demand for connection. It really is the bedrock of the digital world.
Totally. So let's maybe zoom in a bit now, move from the big global picture to what's happening region by region, because that's where you see the different stories, right? Let's kick off with North America. A major powerhouse, obviously. Its market is also set to roughly double by 2033. That's, solid, consistent growth.
And it's interesting within North America, the U.S. is the giant, no question, holds the biggest piece of the pie. But Canada's actually showing some really strong momentum, faster growth in the U.S., percentage-wise. Could be different investment strategies, maybe different regulations playing a role there north of the border.
That's a really interesting point. Yeah, different priorities, maybe focusing on broader access, could definitely shape that growth curve differently. Okay, let's hop across the Atlantic. Europe also seeing consistent expansion. They're looking at over $865 billion by 2033. And in Europe, you've got the big players, UK, Germany, France, all growing steadily, putting up big numbers. But actually, the fastest growth rates look towards Russia and Spain. Both are projected to pretty much double their market size by 2033. Suggests a real push for digital transformation there.
Hmm. And the thing about Europe, even if the growth isn't quite as, say, explosive as APAC, its baseline is so high,
Mm.
mature infrastructure, high digital use already. So even steady growth means huge value add. It's often about deepening the services they already have.
Yes, exactly. Deepening, enhancing. Okay, now brace yourself for Asia Pacific. This region isn't just growing, it's like seriously accelerating. It's got the highest regional SIGAGR globally, the market size there. Expected to more than double, smashing past 930 billion by 2033. China is still the heavyweight champ in the region, obviously huge market, still growing fast. But the real headline, the number that just leaps out, India. India's market is set to more than double, hitting over $177 billion by 2033. A growth rate over 8%, just blazing. And Singapore's doing really well too. Strong acceleration there as well.
Yeah, that India growth is phenomenal. And it's not just, more people getting phones. It's this huge leap in digital inclusion. Think affordable data,
Mm.
really innovative local services. That kind of speed has massive socioeconomic impacts. It changes lives, creates whole new economic avenues. It really points to a future where digital innovation isn't just happening in the usual places.
That's incredible. Really shows the power of getting people connected. Okay, turning now to South America. Telecoms there, also looking strong. On track again to more than double market size by 2033. Brazil, as you'd probably guess, is leading the charge regionally, set to nearly double its market. But places like Colombia and Argentina also showing really impressive growth rates, a strong regional push for better connectivity.
Right. And in South America, a lot of that seems tied to getting more smartphones in people's hands, expanding mobile broadband, especially outside the big cities. It's about bringing more people online, often for the first time, which unlocks all sorts of digital activity.
Okay, moving over to the Middle East, another region showing strong performance. Market projected to, you guessed it, more than double by 2033. The UAE really stands out here. It's got the highest growth rate in the region, showing off some serious investment in advanced telecom infrastructure.
The Middle East is interesting because it's not just population growth driving it. You've got this big government push, too. Things like smart city projects, diversifying economies away from oil and gas. Telecoms is absolutely central to that vision, which makes the growth really dynamic.
Makes sense. And finally, let's touch on Africa. Telecoms there showing consistent growth as well. Again, looking at nearly doubling by 2033. Nigeria is leading the way in Africa in terms of market size, but South Africa is showing stronger momentum, actually, a pretty robust growth rate there.
Yeah, Africa's story is often about mobile first, isn't it? You have rapid urbanization, a really young population that's grown up with digital. Mobile often just leapfrogs the need for older fixed line stuff. So you get fast adoption, big market expansion.
So if we pull back again, look at all these regions, what's the common thread? What's really driving this incredible expansion everywhere?
Well, it really comes down to a few kind of core forces that are reshaping basically everything. First, there's just this relentless push for digitalization everywhere, across every sector. Smart cities, remote work, online learning, telehealth, all need strong connectivity.
Right.
Then you've got the 5G rollout, and that's way more than just faster downloads on your phone,
Mm.
right? It enables stuff like super low latency, connecting tons and tons of devices at once. That's crucial for things like autonomous cars, advanced AI, maybe even the metaverse down the line.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's the Internet of Things, IoT. That's really picking up speed. Billions of devices, smart fridges, factory sensors, you name it, all getting connected, sending data, automating things. And kind of underneath it all, there's just this fundamental, ever-growing human need for global connectivity. The more connected we are, the more we want to be connected. It feeds itself.
It's amazing how those big shifts are just opening up so many opportunities everywhere. It's not just selling phone plans anymore, is it? It's like building the infrastructure for a whole new way of living and working.
So just to wrap up our deep dive here, the takeaway is pretty clear. Telecommunications isn't just getting bigger, it's fundamentally changing. We've seen the massive scale, right, from that absolutely blazing growth in India and parts of Asia to the tech leadership in North America, the steady expansion in Europe, and that vital growth across Africa and South America. It's happening everywhere.
And it does raise a really interesting question, I think, for all of us. Considering all this speed, all this transformation we've just talked about, what part of your own life, or maybe the wider world, do you think is going to be most profoundly changed by telecoms in the next, say, 10 years? Because one thing seems certain. This industry is going to keep driving innovation and shaping how we communicate for a long, long time.
Welcome to the Deep Dive, your shortcut to being well-informed. Today we're taking a deep look at, well, something that really touches almost every part of our modern lives, the telecommunications market. We've gathered some really compelling insights, some data to explore the forces driving its evolution, the big challenges it faces, and also the exciting trends shaping its future. Our mission really is to cut through all that complexity and just pinpoint the most important nuggets of knowledge for you. The big question we're asking is, how is telecom actually navigating this relentless wave of digital demand? Can it truly keep pace with, our seemingly endless digital appetite?
That's exactly the heart of it, and it's such a critical moment for this kind of exploration. The telecommunications sector isn't just evolving slowly, it's really undergoing an era of pretty profound transformation. There are these huge global forces at play, which makes understanding this whole landscape absolutely essential if you want to grasp our increasingly connected world.
Okay, let's unpack those forces then.
Yeah.
Because the scale of change is, well, it's remarkable. One of the most
Yeah.
powerful drivers seems to be just the sheer, almost exponential growth in mobile data consumption.
Yeah.
When we talk numbers, what does that actually look like? And what's fueling this massive appetite for data?
Yeah, the velocity of the growth is what's really fascinating here. Projections suggest average mobile data usage per smartphone. Well, it's expected to reach something staggering like 56 gigabytes per month by 2029. Just think about that for a second. That's enough data to stream, I don't know, dozens of high-def movies right to your phone.
Wow.
And this huge jump is mostly driven by, more cloud-based apps, the explosion of HD video streaming, and our sort of always-on social media habits. For the telecom operators, this surge is actually a massive opportunity. They can capitalize on their infrastructure investments, maybe through tiered data plans, premium 5G services, stuff that delivers faster speeds, lower latency. It's about getting creative, really, with how they package and deliver on this demand.
Okay, so we've got the individual's hunger for data. But it's not just us consumers driving this, right? The business world is shifting too.
Yeah.
How is that huge migration of businesses to the cloud influencing the telecom market?
Oh, absolutely. If we connect this to the bigger picture, the cloud adoption wave, this whole enterprise digital transformation, it's a colossal driver. As companies all over the world move their operations, their data to cloud infrastructure, the demand for reliable, secure, high-speed connections is, well, it's sky high. Enterprises are actively looking for next-gen stuff like dedicated fiber, SD-WAN, that's software-defined wide area networking, gives incredible network agility and other advanced business data services.
Right.
And with the global public cloud market expanding like crazy double-digit pace, telecom providers are playing an absolutely crucial role. They're enabling this digital transformation across almost every industry. They are literally the backbone for this shift.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting, I think. The third driver, maybe the most transformative,
Hmm.
the Internet of Things, IoT. We hear so much about connected devices, but how will billions of these things fundamentally change the game for telecoms?
Yeah, the IoT expansion makes it clear the future of telecommunications isn't just about our smartphones anymore. It's about billions, truly billions, of connected devices.
Yeah.
Forecasts are pointing to over 6 billion cellular IoT connections worldwide in the near future. Just picture
Okay.
that volume.
Incredible.
This covers everything: smart city infrastructure, connected cars, industrial automation, you name it. And here's the interesting part. While the revenue you get per device for an IoT connection might be relatively low, the sheer volume, that
Right.
creates a scale that can really boost profitability and diversify what operators can offer. It's a numbers game, you know. Quantity makes a huge difference here.
Now, this growth story sounds fantastic, exhilarating even, but it can't be all smooth sailing. There must be obstacles. Every revolution faces its dragons, right? What are the main challenges facing the industry right now?
That raises a really important point about sustainability, doesn't it? In such a high growth area. A major constraint, a big hurdle, is the intense price competition and, frankly, saturation, especially in developed places like Western Europe or North America, where mobile penetration is already over 120%.
More phones than people, basically.
Exactly. So when new customer growth is that limited, operators often get forced into competing really aggressively on price. And unfortunately, that leads to a pretty sharp decline in average revenue per user, ARPU they call it. This sort of commoditization of core services like voice and data, it makes growing revenue incredibly difficult in those mature markets. It's almost like they're fighting for scraps.
Hmm. Sounds like a constant race to the bottom on price. And then there's just the cost, the relentless cost of keeping up with technology. How does that impact the bottom line for these companies?
Oh, it's a huge factor. It's a
Ah.
continuous, very significant capital expenditure burden. You know, CapEx.
Mhm.
Deploying advanced 5G networks, expanding fiber to the home, plus maintaining all the older legacy infrastructure. It requires telecom operators to invest billions year after year after year. These massive capital commitments, they can definitely strain profitability and limit financial flexibility. Makes the return on investment timelines a real critical concern. It's kind of like trying to build an airplane while you're flying it.
Hmm.
The upgrades are nonstop and incredibly expensive.
Right. And what about the rules from outside, the external governance? How does the complex regulatory environment impact their ability to operate, to innovate? Does it stifle innovation or maybe just force them to be more disciplined?
Yeah, the complex regulatory landscape is another significant hurdle. Telecommunications is actually one of the most heavily regulated industries globally. Governments impose pretty strict guidelines around things like spectrum allocation, that's the airwaves they use, service quality, net neutrality, data privacy. Now, these regulations are necessary, often for consumer protection, but they also introduce high compliance costs. And they can definitely stifle commercial agility sometimes. So operators are constantly trying to balance innovation with, keeping aligned with all the regulations. It's a real tightrope walk.
So, okay, despite these pretty significant headwinds, competition, cost, regulation, what are the exciting trends? What's shaping the industry's path forward, especially when it comes to innovation? How are they thinking about the future?
Well, first and foremost, I'd say is the continued rollout and crucially the monetization of 5G networks. It's important to understand 5G isn't just about faster internet for your smartphone. I mean, that's nice, but
It's more than that.
oh, yeah. It's truly about enabling entirely new enterprise use cases. We're talking low latency applications like cloud gaming, maybe connected and autonomous vehicles down the line, smart manufacturing, even private 5G networks built just for specific enterprise clients. Imagine a factory floor where machines communicate instantly, no wires needed. That's the kind of thing. Also, fixed wireless access, FWA, is popping up. It's emerging as a cost-effective alternative to traditional broadband, especially in places that are harder to reach with fiber. ever. It's expanding coverage in ways fiber just can't, not quickly anyway.
That is a lot of cutting-edge tech.
Yeah.
Beyond just the speed and capability, how are providers trying to make life, well, simpler and maybe stickier for customers? Are they changing how they package things up?
Absolutely. We're seeing a really strong trend towards convergence of services and content bundling. Providers are now combining mobile services, fixed broadband, maybe even streaming content platforms, all into unified packages. For consumers, this offers simplicity, often some cost savings too.
Makes sense. One bill.
Exactly. And for the provider, this strategy doesn't just boost the average revenue per household, it also significantly improves customer retention and loyalty. By bundling these essential services together, operators create a much more integrated, much stickier relationship with you, the customer. It's about being that single point for all your digital needs, really.
Okay, and finally, let's touch on the really foundational stuff, the technological shifts happening behind the scenes. What are those underlying changes that are sort of setting the stage for everything else?
Right. This brings us to a really profound transformation in how telecom networks are actually built and managed. It's the transition to software-defined networking, or SDN, and network function virtualization, NFV. Think of it like this. Traditionally, network functions like routing, firewalls, were handled by specialized kind of rigid hardware boxes. With SDN and NFV, telecom companies are virtualizing these core network functions. They're essentially running them as flexible software on standard cloud infrastructure, like apps on a server.
They're more adaptable?
Exactly. This shift massively enhances scalability, automation, and cost efficiency. And what's even more impactful, perhaps, is that it paves the way for something called network as a service, or NOS, offerings. This creates a whole new revenue opportunity because enterprises can now tap into agile, customizable network solutions tailored precisely to their needs, almost on demand. It's a complete reimagining of the network itself. Really foundational stuff.
Wow. What a fantastic exploration we've had. The core takeaway from all this seems pretty clear. The telecommunications sector is truly at the nexus, right at the heart of global digital transformation. We've seen these powerful twin forces, soaring data use, growing enterprise cloud needs, billions of IoT devices all driving this huge expansion. But we've also unpacked the very real challenges, the fierce price competition, the heavy infrastructure spending, the complex regulatory pressures. It's definitely a dynamic and incredibly complex landscape.
It really is. And that leads to the provocative thought I'd like to leave you, the listener, with. Just consider how these ongoing shifts in telecommunications, I mean, from how you stream video tonight to how your city's infrastructure might evolve, to the very nature of industry itself, how they're fundamentally shaping not just the industry, but your daily life. And the future of connectivity for absolutely everyone. By embracing these new models, these new technologies, operators are really positioning themselves as the enablers of tomorrow's connected world, a world that, well, we are all increasingly a part of.
Absolutely. A perfect note to end on. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive today.